Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Wednesday morning. Glad you're here, my friends. Hey, the guest today on the program is the president of Fresno State. His second appearance here on Connect with me. He's a friend of this program's, and I'm so glad he is here, and I hope you're glad that he's here too. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Just hit option 11. You'll be able to get in and ask our friend today any questions that you like. Within reason, though. We'll be back in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the American people.
Glad you're back here on the program on a Wednesday morning. It is Connect with me on Me TV Fresno. Before we dive into our program today here at the beginning, I want to mention just the rest of the week what we have planned, and that is for tomorrow. We have the general manager and the golf pro from Copper River Country Club. He's a first-time guest. Spent some time out there on Sunday during one of their tournaments. What a great guy that Ryan is. He'll be in here to maybe give us some golf tips, I don't know. Then on Friday, guess what? Don Scordino, our friend from Realty Concepts, is going to be here. He's selling a house just down the street. It's a historic home. In fact, it's on the Register of Historical Homes and the Historical Home Society. It's sold for over almost $600,000. All right, it's right along Huntington Boulevard. It's, you know, those historic homes, that row there. And so Don will be in here to talk about that house and I guess in general, the real estate market and how it's doing here in the Central Valley. And then on Monday, we've got the fiery, the one and only Brooke Ashton, Fresno Unified School Board member. He will be here to talk about all sorts of things, including what they're doing at Bullard High School. Have you driven by Bullard High School recently and seen the reconstruction over there? It really is a sight to behold, my friends. Anyway, you're watching us live on Comcast, channel 375, and I hope that's a sight to behold. Every day, every Monday through Friday, live 10 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a live call-in show, as you know. 43.6 and 13.1 over-the-air broadcast if you do not have Comcast cable. The replay comes later in the day, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13.6 YouTube, 8 o'clock tonight on 4.6 Biz TV. After that, you can catch us on YouTube. Well, I got to tell you, there are days when I do this show and I get real big-time goosebumps, and today is one of those days because I really like this gentleman that's in today. He's the president of Fresno State. There's a lot of news coming out of Fresno State just this year alone, and we're not even halfway through. A lot of it has to do with the football team. Yes, they hired a new football coach, Jeff Tedford. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to get him on the program. A lot of the news is positive and maybe some not so positive. You know what happened with that professor out there. I guess we'll get into that. But let's roll the videotape and we'll dive right into our show. This courtesy of the Fresno Bee. Most recently, Dr. Joseph Castro, the president of Fresno State, was honored by the Armenians right here in the Central Valley for his ongoing support for the families who lost loved ones. They were slaughtered during the Armenian genocide more than 100 years ago. There's the monument out there at Fresno State. The dinner and the ceremony took place at Pardini's in Northwest Fresno. Dr. Castro looked a bit taken back by the honor. He was instrumental in helping get the funding, the backing, the support to erect the Armenian Genocide Memorial at the school. More than 1.5 million Armenians were reported slaughtered by the Turkish government during the Ottoman Empire starting in 1915. Hundreds of thousands of Greeks and Assyrians were also killed as well. All right, roll the videotape. Also a new water polo coach, a new wrestling coach, and yes, a new football coach, and Jeff Tedford on board. Spring practice just completed. Everyone has high hopes for the Bulldogs as they prepare for the upcoming season. Tedford working his players to the bone out there. He's known as a very aggressive recruiter, especially when it comes to luring kids right here in the Central Valley to sign up as a Bulldog. But he's also known as a structured coach, paying very close attention to detail when it comes to his players, his offense, his defense. He was a big-time winner at Cal. Many believe he can win here too, but Fresno State has lost a lot of fans and revenue the past couple of years, as you know. Blame that on a couple of losing seasons. It's a major concern for some officials at the school. We'll talk about that today, and then put up the photo. Yeah, I guess at some point we'll talk about this man. There he is in the news recently, Professor Lars Mychuk, sending negative tweets about our President Donald Trump. He caught the eyes of the Secret Service, now under a federal probe into those tweets. This story capturing national attention, and all of this and more is on today's program. It's on the agenda. Live in our studio now is Dr. Joseph Castro, the president of Fresno State University. We're glad he is here. And I know when we talk about this professor, I know there is limited information that he can give us because, look, the guy's under a federal probe. What can you say, right? It kind of speaks for itself. But it's my obligation as a journalist to ask these questions. I have to. And by the way, just so you know, and Dr. Castro knows very well, I invited Dr. Castro to be a guest on this program way before that story ever broke. So I had no idea what was going to happen. No, none of us did. None of us knew that that story was going to break big time all over the country. But as long as he's here, I'll ask him about it. I'll make you happy out there. And you can call in at 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're back with our wonderful guest, Dr. Joseph Castro of Fresno State, in just a moment.
And away we go.
Here's a place that makes you smile. Stick around and stay a while. We're the home of great TV. That's memorable. That's me.
Follow me, sir.
Call them classics, call them the best. Call them favorites, be our guest. Every day there's more to come. Watch and see, there's only one. Me TV.
All you have to do is watch me.
Are you kidding me?
Follow me.
That's memorable. That's me.
That's me.
Me TV.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country, the only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
Listen, we can still be fair and accurate and even critical to a certain extent, but I do think that Dr. Joseph Castro, and I may say this right to your face here, that I think you probably are one of the most popular guys in Fresno right now, and you may turn out to be one of the best presidents Fresno State's ever seen.
Thank you.
And I just want to ask you right off the bat, why do you make yourself so accessible? You're so friendly. Anybody can walk up and talk to you. You do so much for the community. You speak at Rotaries. You go here, you go there. You're a part of the community. You're kind of a man about town. You're seen all over the place. Why is that?
Well, John, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show again. You know, when I was growing up, my grandfather would bring me here to this Ventura TV, so it brings back good memories.
You're kidding.
No,
How old were you?
Oh, little guy. Yeah, little guy. But it brings back memories to come in here today. And of course, it's great to see you. I love serving as president at Fresno State. It's the most meaningful and challenging job I've ever had, and I love serving at home. Most presidents don't get to serve at home. They don't get that privilege, and I know how very fortunate I am, and it's an opportunity to help support all of our young people here in the Central Valley. Fresno State plays such a key role in growing leaders, and I take that very seriously and want to try to help make sure our university does better in that way every single day.
It just seems like you don't play favorites. You're honest. You have integrity. People like you. There's nothing fake about you at all, Dr. Castro. I mean, I can kind of, I kind of get a read for people if they're fake or not. You're as real as this table right here, and I can just sense it. I don't know what it is. Do you think that's one of the reasons you got the job? Is because of your integrity?
I hope so. I think that's all very important. Integrity, honesty, compassion, all those things are really important in a leader. Yeah. And, you know, presidency of a university, it's got to be exactly the right fit. And so I feel like, you know, I'm the right person to lead Fresno State today, and hopefully for a good long time. And someday there'll be another president who can take it to that next higher level. But my job right now is to do whatever I can to make sure the university is strong and supporting all of our talented young people throughout the valley.
You seem happy.
Yeah,
I
love
see you
it.
on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, is that you know? I mean, you're posting
yeah.
pictures all over the place.
Yeah.
You and your wife, Mary.
Yeah,
Are you a happy camper?
definitely. Yeah, and
Really?
we have all of our family here, and my wife is very happy. She's been volunteering full time for the campus, and we spend more time together now than we've ever been able to in our marriage. So that's a really nice thing too. And she grew up here as well. So
Yeah.
again, very meaningful, and such incredibly talented faculty and staff at Fresno State as well.
Hang on, caller. Get to you in a moment. Yeah, before I get to the call,
Sure.
what did Dr. Pete Mijas see in you? I was very good friends with Dr. Mijas,
Yeah.
and I was heartbroken when he died. And he spoke highly of you on this program. He did.
Thank you.
And in your mind, what did he see in you as being a qualified candidate for the job?
Well, he chaired the search committee that recommended me to the Board of Trustees in 2013. And I had known Pete from days when I served at UC Merced. I think that he knew how committed I was to the Central Valley. We met during the time I was helping to support the development of the UC Merced campus, and worked together in that capacity. And I think he was happy to know that this president, the eighth president, would be from the Valley and would bring that, you know, knowledge of the culture, the people. And it has felt easy in that way to serve here, because I feel like I do understand the richness of the culture here, the diversity, all the different folks that make up this valley. And 9 out of 10 of our students are from the Central Valley. We get some great ones from outside as well who end up staying here and contributing to the valley. But I love that we serve this region, and talent is everywhere, John, as you know. And
Yeah.
I love the fact that we find that talent in households all over the valley.
Yeah. Caller, you're on the air with Dr. Castro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're on today. I would like to put in perspective, I know that Fresno State's one of the less expensive schools to go to. Can you tell us about what it costs per year if you're going to study for a doctor, to become a doctor? And I would like to stay on the line, too.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Well, we have 3 doctoral programs in educational leadership, in nursing practice, and in physical therapy. Those are the only 3 areas where we actually have the authority to award the doctorate, because it's mostly restricted to the University of California.
Oh.
So most of our students are getting their baccalaureate degrees or their master's degrees. So the number of doctoral students is small. The cost at Fresno State, it's a really good thing. We actually are the lowest tuition and fee charging university, public university in California.
You are?
We
Really?
are, yeah.
Well, what does it cost to say? Like my son, who's in high school now, he's probably going to go to Fresno State.
Yeah.
And he and his mother and I were wondering, what do you think that would cost for
we
4 years?
Love to have him. Well, the tuition right now is about $6,000
Per year.
per year.
Okay. That's for one school year.
For one school year.
Okay.
And then if, you know, he was going to live on campus or in an apartment, then there would be housing costs. But
Yeah.
if a student stays at home, the tuition is $6,000, and then there would be books that would be, you know, on average $1,000 or a little bit more for the year. Those would be the core
So
expenses.
it'd be about 6 plus the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, gas and food, things that you would have if you weren't in a university, you'd have to pay for anyway.
You need gas and food anyhow. don't you?
Exactly. And you need housing anyway.
Yeah.
But the difference between the fees that we charge and then the highest cost university in the CSU is $3,000 a year. So there's actually quite a gap, which means that our students graduate with pretty low debt. On average, it's about $18,000 for a whole degree. And
That's not bad.
Not too bad in these days. I mean,
No.
every dollar counts, and I'm very sensitive to that because many of our families are struggling, and I get that. We actually give away $230 million in financial aid each year.
Wow.
So a lot of our students get financial aid, and 80% of that money, John, is actually free money. It's grants and
From the
scholarships.
state or?
State, federal, and private as well. We have so many good friends who've been generous. The Smitkamp family being
Amazing.
such a great model, but others as well.
Yeah, and so I'm not going to ask you what you paid for your education, but I imagine you're still paying for it and getting a doctorate. I mean, that's amazing. A lot of people are worried about, gee, they're going to reach my age or maybe your age, and they're still going to be paying for it.
Yes. I did have to do some borrowing when I received my doctorate at Stanford, but they were generous with scholarships, fellowships, and then research positions. We do the same with our students. We try to hire as many as we can for research jobs, and that helps defray the costs.
Yeah. Okay, caller, you're still on the line there, I'm assuming, right?
I would like to ask one more question also. I used to, and me and a bunch of kids around here, we all grew up, the amphitheater. We used to go, hang out over there, play, ride our bicycle, skateboards, etc. When we got older, we started playing music on their stage. I hear that that's condemned and gated up. Is there any plans to bring that back?
Thank you. That's a great question. You're right. It is in disrepair, and we're looking at it right now to improve it in some way. There was a proposal for a new student union that would have occupied a portion of that area, but that didn't pass by the student body. So now we're looking at it with a fresh eye to see what we might do for the future. We've also been looking at the possibility of a new performing arts center that could use some of that. So it's still an open question, but it's clearly not what we want for the future. We're going to do something to improve the use of that space.
Are you advertising for donations?
Not at this point. We need to develop a plan for that area. We had one, but that the students actually have the ability to vote for fee increases to support things like the union. They decided they didn't want that right now. So we're looking at it with a fresh eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Joseph Castro is here. A lot more to talk about. And we don't have a sponsor today, so we might take some fewer breaks. 436-ME-TV, option 11. I know there's a lot of time left in the program, but a lot more material to get to. Back in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
From a top-secret location, it's the spies who love me, bringing together MeTV's top super spies to fight evil at a memorable moment's notice. They're daring.
That's right.
Brave.
Now what are we gonna do?
The best we can.
Suave.
Does that apply to me, Oscar?
Possibly.
And smart.
The old finger in the gun trick.
Maxwell Smart.
MeTV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
Dr. Joseph Castro is here, and I might mention that our terrific director, Kerry Franklin, is going to be graduating from Fresno State in a couple of weeks. How about a big yay? I wish we had a separate camera to get a shot of her right now. So you're going to be at the ceremony.
Absolutely. We'll have multiple ceremonies. We have 6,000 graduates this year, John.
Wow. And I want to ask you, because I've read, listen, I did a lot of research for this show, okay? Because I knew you were going to come on. I've seen the promo. Have you seen that promo we've been running? Yeah. Oh, my God. Somebody said, are you guys running that promo every day? And I said, yes. So what are the graduation rates on average at Fresno State? Because I read the internet, I go on the internet and I read something and it says, it has a number and then it changes. So what is the real number?
Yeah, well, our current rate is near 60%, and that's for the 6-year graduation rate. Universities are looked at now for 6 years, not 4 years.
Why?
Well, that's just the way they've measured them. I'm a little old-fashioned, so I focus on the 4 and the 5 year as well.
Is that where I'm getting these different figures then?
Yeah, so our 4-year rate is lower than our 5 and 6 year rates.
Which is what, 50% maybe?
Well, our 5-year rate's getting close to 50. Our 4-year rate is below 20.
Okay,
So,
see, I'm not up to date on this. Is that a good rate? Is that kind of middle of the road? Where is it? Should it be higher?
We're about in the kind of average of the CSU.
Okay.
We're probably a little above average nationally, but I'm trying to get us up higher. I set a goal when I first came to get us to 70%. When I started, we were at 48. So we're at nearly 60 now.
That's great.
And our goal is to get to 70 by 2023. Last year, U.S. News and World Report ranked us as the #1 public university for our growth. We've grown faster.
I remember
than,
that. Yes.
Than just about any other place. So that's good news. So our trajectory is good. We're not yet where we can be, but we will be there soon.
Yes, and how do you encourage people to stay in school, to get that, to graduate, like Terry's graduating?
Yeah.
It's a big deal. In this area, you have a lot of people where they're first-time graduates in their family.
Yes. Over 70% of our students are first-generation college. And what that means is they have the intellectual capacity, but they don't always know how to navigate the university. So that's one of the challenges, is to make sure that we help them find the support they need so they can be successful. Financial aid's important, making sure they get as many scholarships and grants as we can. So we're constantly fundraising.
Is money a major issue as to why some don't stay in college?
Yes, it's probably the dominant issue. And then a lot of first-generation students don't know a lot about the ins and outs of financial aid. So we try to teach them that financial literacy and management, because sometimes students will drop out to earn a couple $1,000s to come back a year later, when that probably delayed their higher income for later. So there's different ways of approaching it. It might in some cases be better for them to borrow a little bit so they graduate sooner and start making a salary $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 sooner rather than later. So we're trying to teach them about the ins and outs of financial aid, and at the same time I recognize every dollar is crucial, so we're trying to raise more and more financial aid from private sources.
Private sources.
Yes.
You're already getting financial aid from the state and the feds.
Yes.
But in reading, and I did a little research last night in looking up that U.S. News and World Report that they did on Fresno State.
Yes.
So the trajectory, it is going in the right direction. Is it going as fast as you'd like it to be?
Well, no. But it's not easy. It probably won't go straight up, and the way we measure it is by the graduating classes. So the class of 2011 that came in 2011, it'll be their graduation rate for this year that will be our new rate. So it changes each year, and it's based on the trajectory of each class.
So you probably won't know 4 or 5 years from now if it's really gonna climb.
I expect that it will, because the trend lines are going upward, and our students are coming to us better prepared than ever before. 5 years ago, 60% of our students came to us needing remedial education, meaning they weren't quite ready to jump right into all their classes.
Not ready for prime time.
That's right, but that's down to 40%. And our goal is to get it down to 0, as close to 0 as we can, because if they get to us ready to go, their chances of graduating in 4 years is very high.
Yeah, if you want to go online and do like I did, just go ahead and read that report. It's U.S. News and World Report, and it really is a pretty interesting graph and an article. And Fresno State is in there, and one of the fastest growing universities, although not at the level that Dr. Castro wants to see it now. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. What's your question?
Good morning. Good morning, John. Good morning, Chancellor Castro. John, you got pencil and paper?
Yeah, I did. Actually, right here.
3 questions. These are very important questions I'm going to ask Chancellor Castro, and thank you for coming on today.
Sure.
Were you familiar with the Armenian people before you were installed as chancellor? That's my first question.
Okay.
And the second question, what was the tipping point in supporting the Armenian cause and the genocide monument? And the last question, sir, how did you meet Mary, your wife? And that's it.
That's
it, John.
All right. Hey, by the way, caller, hang on. Did you go out and see Rich Little on Friday?
Yes. Hey, John, before I forget, I owe you a DVD of all my pictures I took.
Okay. Okay, I'd love to see it.
You're going to get it in about a week or so.
You got it, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
All right.
And
okay.
And Chancellor
Thank
Castro.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks
All
for
right.
the
You want to
questions.
tackle the Mary question first?
Sure. That's the easy one. I met her when I was on break during my freshman year at Cal. I needed to, earn a little bit of money for the winter semester, and my buddy worked at Burger King, and his girlfriend at the time was the manager. So he got me a job there, and it just so happened that Mary, who was a senior in high school, a year younger, was working there. And I pretty much knew right away that I was very attracted to her. But the problem is she was dating somebody. So I befriended her, but I was very respectful of that. And then when I heard that she was not dating him a few months later,
I call her. Hang on a moment. I got to hear this story.
When I found out she wasn't dating him a few months later, then I was able to make my move. And the rest is history.
Did she blow you off at first?
No, she was so kind to me.
She
was. Always.
Really?
And
she didn't say, "Hey, come on, get away from me."
Well, I didn't come on strong. I just wanted to get to know her, but she did notice that every time she was working, I was there, and every time she was on break, I went on break, and I'd walk her to her car, and so I was doing a gentle sales job. And, she's 17, I was 18, and
you're cracking me up.
Just kids, but no, it was great.
So is that your dating approach and advice for others? Just move in, but move gently.
Well, especially if someone's dating another person. Yes.
Dating advice from Dr. Castro. Here we are. All right. So, caller, hang on. Were you familiar with the Armenians and the Armenian genocide prior to becoming the president of Fresno State?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the benefits of living in the Valley is I was able to know a lot about the culture. One of my closest friends, Greg Marud, I met him when I was about 6 years old. And so I learned all about Armenian culture and food from his family. Phil Marut, who's a prominent attorney here in the Valley, who was on my transition team. I appointed him to my transition team, but a great family. And then my mother worked with an Armenian lady, Blanche Kasparian, who would tell me stories all the time and make me laugh. So the answer is yes, I knew quite a bit about Armenians, and I love the culture.
And the final question, what was the tipping point in getting that Armenian genocide memorial out there at Fresno State? The tipping point, that's what the caller wanted to know.
Well, this might be the most significant thing I do as president because it will teach generations about why we need to not repeat genocides. Leaders of any kind. Leaders do not do harm to people, and we grow leaders. So I want that monument to speak volumes about who we are as people, and pay respect to Armenians. So it was actually something that felt natural to me when they brought it to my attention and asked me to support it. And I'm so honored to be president while it's happened. And we've received incredible support from the community to pay for it. And it was striking on the day we opened it, John, there were over 5,000 people there. And I did not expect the outpouring of love and support and just the emotion. And that taught me that it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air with Dr. Castro.
Okay, yes, I have a question. Is Fresno State going to be safer? Because around that area, there's a lot of shootings, rapes, killings, and especially from people that go to Fresno State, like the basketball players. They got a rape charge, but they dropped it down because they play basketball for Fresno State. Is it going to be more safer now, security?
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. The campus is actually a relatively safe place, and we're working to make it safer. We've added lighting, we've made it brighter. It's really important for our students and faculty and staff to know that we'll do everything we can to make it safe, but it's important to not walk around by yourself late at night. And a lot of the incidents have happened when people walk around late at night. So I just urge everyone to not do that.
Whether you're a man or a woman.
Oh yeah, late at night by yourself is not a good thing to do. And then around the campus, the mayor, City Councilman Cabriolio have been very helpful. We've been beefing up support by the city police. They've opened a new station there for report writing, so there's going to be a greater presence of the city police working with our police. We've beefed up our police as well.
Yeah.
But we need to have support around the campus, and the mayor has been very, very helpful there.
Yeah, you've talked to Mayor Brand about it, huh?
Absolutely, and he's made it a priority. And in terms of our basketball players, our student athletes are honorable folks, and I'm not aware of that situation that he's talking about. We take seriously any harassment or rape charges. We investigate them, whoever it is, and I can tell you that we do that with integrity. And it does happen from time to time that these incidents are reported, and I want to make sure that they get reported because it's important that we know and we find out what happened, and then we, make sure the consequences are appropriate for any misbehavior.
What do you think the curfew ought to be for walking around campus?
Well, I don't know.
What would the cutoff time be, would you say?
I just think that any time after dark, it's just important to have people walking together. We have escort services, so we'll actually escort people. And so things happen sometimes walking from the campus into neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And it's really important to not walk in a dark area by yourself late at night.
Yeah, I don't like that at all either.
Yeah.
That scares me.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you don't walk around there by yourself at night either.
I try not to, and we made a change where the parking lots had been restricted for faculty and staff all day and night, but now at 6 o'clock, students can park in those lots, and many of them are closer to campus, so they don't have to walk as far away.
It stays lighter a little bit later.
That helps too.
Yeah.
But I think it's, we're focusing on it, trying to make sure we do everything we can to keep people safe.
All right, we have a lot more to get to, and I'm running out of time here. 436-MeTV, option 11. Dr. Joseph Castro is here, and I'm glad he is. We've been promoting this show for weeks on end, my friends, as you know. Back in just a moment.
Giddy up with westerns, we've got the best ones. Superhero sci-fi spin, grab the popcorn and stay in. Dramas, mystery, and action, take a look and see what happens. Carol, Andy, Lucy, MASH, timeless comedies full of laughs. Hey, that's me!
That's me.
That's me, Chief.
Yeah, me, you gotta see. That's memorable, that's me. Me TV.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
All right, I want to roll some videotape right now out there at Pardini's, and it's called Castro, Armenia, because Dr. Joseph Castro was honored by the Armenian community. I shot this actually with my cell phone video out there at Pardini's not too long ago, my friends, and I want you to comment on this as soon as the video comes up because it was a glorious night. You were honored. There are many members of the Armenian community. Your wife was not there that night, as I recall, but your mom was there. I had a chance to meet your mom.
Yes,
that was a really exciting time, and there you are accepting that beautiful award there for supporting the Armenian Genocide Monument at Fresno State and supporting the Armenian community. But I want people to know, too, is that you seem like a very humble guy, and you credited a lot of people other than yourself on that night. Why?
Well, I was overwhelmed, first of all, John, with the love and the support. It was an unexpected award when they wrote me and told me about it. It was something completely unexpected, and then to experience it, it was humbling, and I certainly felt the love and support that night. And my
but you
wife
credit so many other people for helping you.
Oh well, because it takes a team, you know that, and leadership. No one person can get things done on their own, and I think it takes a team. And these are the kinds of ceremonies that actually inspire my team, because we work really hard every day.
Yeah.
And so it was a good night for all of us.
Yeah, it really was. And not only do you support the Armenian community, you support all groups. And as long as we're looking at that videotape there, and I got you here on the show, I have to ask you, you've been in contact, of course, with the Mayor Lee Brand. He's been on the show so many times. He's a friend of ours, too.
Great guy.
He recently has said he is not going to name Fresno as a sanctuary city. But you have said that Fresno State is a sanctuary campus, and why is that?
Well, John, I actually haven't said that. I think there's been a rumor
Really?
or an assumption that I've said that.
Do you consider it a sanctuary campus then?
No, I do not.
Okay.
That implies that we would not follow the law. And as I've said publicly, we will follow the law.
Where have I heard that then? Where have I heard that?
Well,
on social media?
I believe so. And I think it's because of the other things I have said, which is I'm going to do everything I can to support every single student at Fresno State. And that includes our undocumented students.
Do you think some people took that as saying, oh, it's a sanctuary
Probably.
college or university?
But that would be a leap in logic that's not appropriate, because as president, I'm here to serve everybody, every student, and I want to make sure they graduate. And at the same time, we're going to follow the law. And we have made sure that on the ground, our law enforcement agency, our police chief, is working well with all the other law enforcement leaders. So if there ever has to be some arrest for any reason, I understand that, but I would rather...
But you're not in support of, say, ICE coming onto campus and start rounding up people. That isn't right either.
Of course not. No.
Yeah.
And so what I would say is, if there was ever a need to arrest a student...
Hang on, caller.
...or anybody else...
Hang on, caller, please. Thank you.
...that we would want that to happen off campus at their home and not on campus. You could imagine the trauma of that happening in a classroom.
Or just on campus,
the campus. And my feeling is, whatever the crime is, because it could be for anything, that would be dealt with off campus, not on campus.
So you're not in favor of Fresno State being a sanctuary campus?
No, I think that it's important for people to know that I want everybody to succeed academically.
Right.
But I'm going to follow the law.
Yeah.
That's
Well, my
part of
apologies
job.
for taking that interpretation the wrong way, because
No.
on social media, you know, I don't know why, but people have, maybe they haven't met you, they don't know you.
Right.
They should talk to you in person like I am now,
Thank you,
instead
John.
of criticizing you right off the bat. And I've
appreciate
heard a
that.
lot of criticism.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in favor of a sanctuary university,
Right.
based on some of these comments that you've made, when you actually haven't come out and said that.
No, I haven't. And I do think it's because I've said I'm going to support every student.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to break the law. You know, when the Border Patrol wanted to come and recruit, some people wanted me to ban the Border Patrol from recruiting students, and I was criticized for not doing that. I said it was
Right.
okay for them to come,
Right.
because it's the right of our students to decide where they want to work. And I'm not going to say, well, you can't work here or work there. But I do think at the same time, I want folks to know that, because our dreamers are scared right now.
I know
our
they
Muslim
are.
students are scared right now. Some of our other international students who've come here to study, who are talented, they're scared.
Well, the
So-
dreamers are some of our biggest people that are going to run this country in the future, possibly.
Absolutely.
One could become president someday. You never know.
I agree, and you know, as I've said to some elected leaders, they're from Tulare in Hanford, my hometown.
Right.
They're from Fresno. They're our neighbors.
Well, of course, if
Yeah.
they were born elsewhere, they can't become president. But if maybe they could run for Congress, or nonetheless, the dreamers are worried. They're the future of our country, just like some of the people that were born here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And my job as president is to help them to succeed. They've met all the academic requirements to be at Fresno
Right.
State. And it gets back to your point about graduation. I want all of them to graduate, have a high quality academic
Yeah.
experience, and become leaders.
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air with Dr. Castro.
This is a little off the subject, but every time I hear, about the college, I think of the Bulldogs, the gang. And is there any way I personally can separate the two? Or do you understand what I'm saying?
Do I understand correctly what she's talking about? Is she talking about separating the Bulldog gang name to the Bulldogs, or?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I think if that's the way I interpret her question, all I can do as your president, ma'am, is make sure that Fresno State is strong academically and athletically. And I realize that some gangs have adopted our mascot. I want our mascot to represent our academic strength, our athletic strength, all the great things that occur. And so my job is to try to do that. And I'm hoping that over time that those good things will outweigh any of the negative things that might be connected to that particular name.
Okay, I want to go through and talk a little bit about football.
Yes.
And I know you have a brand new football coach. His name is Jeff Tedford.
Yes.
I know you expect high things out of him, or you wouldn't have hired him. And I know it must have been a tough decision to get rid of Tim DeRuyter, but Jeff Tedford comes highly recommended, very incredible recruiter from what I understand, pays attention to detail. I want to put up the first full screen here and talk a little bit about the football program. Carrie, put up the one that's Fresno State football. We'll talk a little bit about this one. 49% of the football season ticket holders are 56 years and older. That, according to a recent athletic department survey, 9% of those who have season tickets are 35 and younger. As far as Fresno State basketball is concerned, let's put that one up as well. 75% of the season ticket holders are 56 years and older, but only 4% are 35 and younger. Go to the next one, Carrie. Jim Bartko, Fresno State Athletic Director. There he is. He's been a guest on this program. What a wonderful guy.
He is.
Here's what he said. If we lose that revenue, it keeps going down. The budgets for all of our sports will go down as well. Okay, I'll get to the question in just a moment. Go to the next one. It's called overall ticket sales. They have dropped the last 5 years. Ticket sales are second largest source of revenue on campus. Okay, as far as what we could tell, according to a report that I saw. Let's go to the fans at Bulldog Stadium. I hope you're digesting all of this. In 2016, there were 15,404 ticket holders at Bulldog Stadium. In 2015, there were a lot more, as you could see, 18,432. And the final one I want to put up, for now at least, is the Save Mart Center. In 2016, at the Save Mart Center for basketball, there were 3,809 ticket holders for the season. 2015, 3,970. So as you could see, for all these various sports, they are going down, Dr. Castro.
Right.
Does this worry you?
Yes, it does. It's a concern.
And what's the remedy? What can be done to rectify this problem? What can we do to raise that red bulldog flag and start waving it again? Come on, fans, get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think a number of things have to happen and are happening. One is for us to attract more families to come to athletic events. The football team this year is going to play all of its home games on Saturday, which is going to make a big difference because they're not going to have Thursday and Friday commitments that conflict with games. And TV has kind of distorted our schedules, ESPN and CBS Sports Network, and that does come with revenue as well. So we have to balance it, but I'm glad that all of our home games are on Saturday. That's going to help us.
Yeah.
Coach Tedford and our new team, I think they're going to win more this year, and winning helps as well. Basketball has been winning, and I'd love to see more people come out and support our basketball team and all of our other sports. We've got incredibly talented, a lot of Valley athletes are part of our team. So I think it's bigger than just winning and losing. It's supporting are student athletes who are achieving. If you put a bullet on the screen about academics, our student athletes have the highest GPAs in our history right now.
Can you attribute that to losing the last few years with Jeff, not with Jeff Tedford, but Tim DeRuyter?
The revenue issues? Well, I think that when a team is not winning, you see a drop in support in terms of attendance. So that doesn't surprise me, because when I first came, we were winning. We're almost undefeated in 2013, and our attendance was way up. So there is an element of winning and losing, and I think we're going to win more, and then having the Saturday games is going to help. Coach Tedford has been recruiting more Valley athletes. I think that will help because people want to come and support their
What
guy.
Can you do to regain the confidence, though, of some of those fans that have departed, maybe?
Well, I want to make it as fun and exciting as possible. And again, these are our students. And in the classroom, John, they have higher GPAs than ever before. We're graduating more student athletes than ever before. And in the end, I think that is the most important thing. But at the same time, I want to make it exciting, and I want us to win more, and we will.
Let's put up the other full screen. Student ticket sales. Difficult to get students to go to the games. And as you look at this, Dr. Castro, you can kind of, for the people that can't see, that maybe have some eyesight issues, I'll read it to you. 2016, 1,730 student tickets distributed for football. 2015, it was 2,005. 70. So as you can see, it's gone down. So what do you do to get these students, people like our wonderful director, Kerry Franklin, to go to some of those games?
Well, again, I think a lot of it is having Thursday and Friday games hurts students because they have other commitments. So I think we're going to see more because it's Saturday. We're going to do more marketing this year, and we're going to win more. I think we saw more students in the first few games last season.
Hang on, caller.
And fewer at the end when we weren't winning. So I think winning also helps.
And then tell me if this is kind of accurate, because I saw a report on this. Put the last one up, Fresno State budget. 29 and 2009-10, football generated about, almost $7 million. That's 36% of the overall budget at Fresno State. In 2012-13, football generated $5 million, about 25% of the budget overall. And in 2016-2017, as you can see, dropping down to about $4 million, 12.6% of the budget. So as you can see, academics is so important because that's the future. But sports generates so much revenue for the school. It is important as well.
Absolutely.
Is it not?
It is important.
So what's number one on the Richter scale?
Well, we have to do it in balance, and I think we've got the right coach, the right staff supporting him. Coach Tedford will win, and I believe that he'll also raise our academic standards. And I visited him recently where he had all his players planning for the week, and
he pays attention to detail.
He does, and I love that. So I think we're going to win on and off the field, and I think we're going to have more people coming out, and it's going to look a lot better in the next few years.
No, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but don't bet on the Alabama game. Alabama's got one heck of a football. Not to take anything away from Jeff Tedford and the Bulldogs. It's just
we've got Washington too. We got Washington.
You hear about Alabama's coach signing that big contract?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
You got to be impressed with that. It's amazing.
I am. And other universities, I think it's also fair to say, John, other universities are spending a lot more money on this.
Yeah, but they have more money.
They have more, and they're getting more private support. So we need to do better at that as well.
Yeah. You will.
Thank you.
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I think Tim DeRuyter let down Dr. Castro when he was there at Fresno State. You remember Johnny Manziel had just won the Heisman Trophy at Texas A&M when he came over, so he thought he was some kind of a rock star when he came over. And then he had Derek Carr and Devontae Adams and all these people. So he felt like he really didn't have to recruit, that the recruits were going to come to him. And he let down Dr. Castro by not recruiting here in the Valley. There was a lot of good athletes that left because they were never contacted by Fresno State. And I think Jeff Tedford is going to be the exact opposite. He's already said he's going to recruit here first heavily before he goes outside.
Okay.
He was raised in this valley, and he's going to be more heavily invested in this valley.
Short on time. Thank you, caller. I really appreciate that. Go ahead,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Castro, if you want to comment on that real quick.
Well, I have a
no?
lot of confidence in Coach Tedford, and I think we're going to do a lot better in the coming years. So I hope that you'll come out to the stadium and join us.
I will. I
Yeah,
will. And speaking of the stadium, I want to ask you about this. Let's roll the videotape. No sound on this, Carrie. We're just going to talk over. It's called Bulldog Stadium. And Bulldog Stadium is really kind of a historic place. There it is. Some people call it, it's the place that Jim Sweeney built. Is it?
Sure. Yeah.
There it is being built right there. And there's the former coach.
With a lot of
Pat
help.
Hill.
With a lot of help from the community.
Yeah.
All privately funded.
Okay, but why, when you see all this revenue going down, ticket sales are down, season tickets are down, but yet a lot of money is being spent to revamp and reconstruct and totally redo Bulldog Stadium to be an updated, modern-day college football stadium. Why spend all that money if revenue is down?
Well, we have to do a renovation no matter what. It's like one of our buildings on campus,
That's
John.
what it's going to look like, by the way.
Well, that's a concept, and
Yeah.
we're still working on the actual final design and the cost. And it'll have to make economic sense. So we'll have to make sure there's a good business plan with it. But I would view it just like I would an academic building.
Okay.
That it needs to be refurbished for the times, easier for people to get around, more comfortable.
Yeah. But so you're not concerned right now about ticket sales or revenue. This has to be done.
Well, we've got to do both. We've got to increase revenue and attendance and work towards this, because if there's the option of doing nothing here is not viable, because
You're not putting the cart before the horse.
I think we have to do both. And we can do both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and we'll be smart about it. It'll be privately funded, because I can't use state funds to support something like that. But I think the community will come together.
Yeah, and once it's done, it'll be a first-class facility. There's no question about it. Just looking at some of the artist rendition there, or a concept of what it might look like. Caller, you're on the air. Short on time, though. Quick. What's your question?
This is for O'Neill's Park. I was wondering, can the general public, can they rent that park out for events? And also, if you're just traveling around or whatever, and you come across that park and you're in it, is it illegal for you to be there? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great question.
Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind sending me a note through the president's website, which is online, I will get you the answer. I think that it's managed through our Jordan College of Agriculture, and I'll find out the right person. But it is open to community events. I've gone to several there. Whether it's okay to stop and have a picnic if no one else is there, I would say yes. But I think let me get you the right person, and they can give you the rules. And one of my hopes is that we can refurbish that park. It's a great location. The benches are getting old, and so that's on the list for improvements here as well.
All right, I got to change topics here because short on time. I have to get to the professor. So let's put his picture back up on the screen there, Lars Meichuk. There he is right there. As you know, he is a teacher who teaches American history at the university. Has not only made national headlines in recent weeks with some of his tweets, but he may have been subjected himself to an intense investigation now by the federal government, and they are doing that as I speak. Let's put up the tweet real quick. It's called Threat. Let's put that threat up right now, and I'll read it verbatim as you see it come up on the screen. It says, to save American democracy, Trump must hang the sooner. It says the sooner. Well, that's not the right one. It's called Threat. I want to put up the one that's called, that's not the right one either. It's called Threat. Can we get the one that says Threat up there? It's called Threat. I want to put the right one up on the screen because he sent several tweets out. And the one that's called Threat is the one I want to put up there because that's the one that caught the national headlines, the national attention. It caught the attention of the federal government. To save American democracy, Trump must hang. The sooner and the higher, the better. Now there's a federal probe. What can you tell us about it? I know you've been criticized on Facebook. You've been criticized on social media. Why doesn't Dr. Castro fire this guy?
Thank you. It turns out to be quite a complicated matter, and a university is run differently than a private business. So people have said, Why didn't you fire this person? Well, there's a whole process in a university that deals with these kinds of matters. He is represented by a union. This will very likely become a legal matter. I anticipate the possibility of that. But we wanted to make sure that we reviewed it carefully.
And I just want to say,
facts.
excuse me, just one second.
Yeah.
We're just going through all the tweets that he sent out during the course of time here. So go ahead. I apologize for the interruption.
No, that's okay. So we've been in touch with him. As you probably know, he is not on campus right now teaching.
Yeah.
He has a different assignment while we're reviewing it.
He's not on paid not medical paid leave or anything.
No.
Okay.
No. We have a contract with him. So with lecturers, they're under a contract, which I believe we will honor. It's just the way in which that gets honored is the question now while we do this review. And we turned over all that information to the federal government, and they're doing whatever they're going to do with that information.
Have the feds come to you and talk to you personally?
We've been in contact with them.
Yeah.
My chief has in his police department, and they have everything that they need. And they know that if they need anything else, that we will provide that.
And you've turned everything over to the government.
We did that on Saturday as soon as I learned what was happening. And as you know, there continue to be more tweets until Dr. Myshak closed his account.
Yeah.
It's now closed. As far as I know, there haven't been any tweets since. And we're talking now about the future. And so,
but you have to do everything legally by the book according to not only university law, but state and federal law.
Absolutely. And then when you consider that there's a collective bargaining agreement, because he's a part of a union, that's another layer. Some universities have faculty who are not in unions, but ours does. So you have the union, you have the public university subject to state laws, federal laws, all those kinds of things, university policies that have to be considered.
So you just can't hand this guy a pink slip. It's just
No.
it's not legal.
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
It would cause a whole other problem that would be even worse.
Yeah. And were you shocked by some of those tweets?
Yes. And
bothered by it?
Absolutely. I mean, it does not reflect the values of our university in any way.
Yeah.
Or myself. I support freedom of speech. And often we have people coming onto campus in different ways who say things that I don't agree with, but that's not my job to say that you can't be there anymore on the campus. So,
but it almost seemed like a threat.
Well, I think that's the reason why it's being looked at by us and by the federal agencies, because of the serious nature of the words that he used and
Was
the way
it
that
really
he
a threat, or was it, just me tweeting out a bunch of stuff that I really didn't mean? That's the investigation.
Well, that's why we're looking at it, because of the kinds of words that were used.
Yeah.
And that's why these federal agencies are involved as well.
Yeah.
So it's a very serious matter, and it's also become a safety issue in my view, not just for him, but for everybody.
Yeah, because he's had threats against him too.
Oh, all of us have, including him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, including yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dr. Castro, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the
Pleasure
program.
seeing you.
It's my pleasure. We're out of time, but you're well respected in the community, and
Thank you.
congratulations. And,
Thank you, John.
And continued success in all the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank
for the
you.
Community.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
Dr. Joseph Castro, we thank him for his time. Tomorrow it's going to be the Copper River Golf Pro. That's right. He's going to be here in the studio. See you then. Have a great day, everybody.
If you have a need to promote your business or event, please consider MeTV Fresno for your next campaign. MeTV reaches over 100,000 of your potential customers in the Fresno area every single week. Plus, you can rest assured that your commercial is running in the greatest family-friendly programs of all time. MeTV Fresno delivers a strong, loyal audience ready to buy, and your campaign will cost a fraction of what you're paying for your